Another big thing about APIs is interoperability. The basic, what is interoperability? It's like a basic ability of computerized systems to connect and communicate with one another, and also readily. This is exactly what our definition or start saying that how can those two systems talk to each other easily. And the beauty of this is that even if they're developed by widely different vendors and manufacturers, they should start talking to each other with minimum support, and that is what this REST APIs kind of give you nowadays. In this example, I mean, there's pretty busy slide that way, but I'll just go over one particular example here. You want to build a mobile app that is bringing in data from, say, your legacy application, which is here. And then you probably have very sophisticated applications or sets of applications in cloud. And then you have some third-party cloud-based services, or you have some database or some other application servers. You can bring in all the data through these REST APIs and create a mobile application and start showing that data and let users interact with that data. So think of this as a common communication bus of some sort, which all systems are doing handshake with. It becomes easier, and now with the new microsystem architecture, it becomes like everything is kind of going REST API way in that sense. We have a next polling question.
Just going to give a couple more seconds to give people a chance to respond.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to share.
Yeah. So good. We have about 57% people, they don't know XCM APIs, and 43% they know. So I'm actually going to go into the overview of XCM API. I'll also go over the capabilities and the examples of XCM APIs. So what is XCM APIs? I mean, pretty standard definition, right? It enables organization and third-party developers to leverage data contained within XCM workflow. So the idea behind this and our philosophy at XCM is that you're creating your data in XCM suite of products. That data belongs to you. We want to have this open system concept where you can take your data and do whatever value you want to generate from it. You can connect with third-party applications or build custom applications or push data into XCM because we have a bidirectional APIs. So you can actually create tasks and users and clients and things like that. So these are three different examples that commonly used. This is your typical XCM admin task dashboard that you would see. From there on the right side, you see you can build a intranet site and make it easy for your users to access XCM data. They don't need to keep on hopping in different places. Advantages, time saving and convenience. And we have um, one use case that we will be giving demo. The second one is dashboard. This is also another very commonly used use case. Create executive dashboards, reports, or like line manager reports, different kinds of visuals to help improve operations. Um, I mean, there is once you have data, it depends on what you want. You can literally build what you want to build. The third is third-party applications, and I did kind of touch upon this. Get your data in mobile application, or take care of examples like take care of revenue recognition by going through XCM workflow data and bring it in Salesforce, and or like take Salesforce and XCM data and build your third-party revenue recognition engine, and things like that. This is another example. There are different ways to integrate XCM API. This is basically left side, you have XCM database. On the right side, you have third-party database. It might be your own database. It might be something else. In between, you have XCM API, and you can actually use partner API. There are a lot of connectors available that can connect with this standard APIs like Zapier, Boomi, and things like that. So you can have these bridging layers, or you can directly integrate into XCM API. So we have open standard, so even like direct integration is very easy, and it's quite standard, and they are RESTful. So it's pretty much like once you understand how these APIs look in one enterprise or one set, it's kind of the similar you will see in XCM API too. So these are like some of the capabilities that we have. As I was saying, that these are bidirectional APIs, so you can import or export data from or in your XCM. You can analyze forward-looking and historical data, to make year-over-year comparison for different entities, tasks, clients, employees, departments, offices, so on and so forth. Compare, contrast, and again, like this is going through the projects. You look at the deliverables, you look at the employees, departments, offices. You can compare and work on operational efficiency and things like that. You can integrate these APIs into like different management systems, as I was showing like some of the examples. Or you can do bulk upload or edit. Example is like client information. You have created clients somewhere else. You don't want your staff to keep on creating or do like duplicate work. You just use these APIs and create these clients which are already created somewhere else. Manipulate tasks, make some jobs automated. If you know that some tasks you need to always change and there are like bulk changes, APIs would come handy. You can automate the jobs and clean your tasks or like update your tasks. You can control your user data. Depends on what you want to do with it. So we have about 50 plus APIs exposed through this product. In API world, those are called API endpoints. And these 50, and we are growing as the functionality is getting built. We are building these APIs. So these are all secure APIs. So that is why you would see like first and foremost and very important section of this API is authorization. So every API needs to get authenticated just the way you would do on XCM web, where you're giving username password. Here we will give API key is also available. Once we give API key, you need to use username password and authenticate yourself. Then we have firm, client, task, and user, where in firm you have you can manage firm level data, like specific task types that are configured for that firm, or checklist, or locations that firm has. Client, you can insert new clients, as I was saying before, update existing clients or delete certain clients, or search clients. So every API has a two-level approach. You can do easy search or advanced search to bring clients or tasks or users. And once you get to a particular record of, say, task or user or client, once you have that, then you want to work on that record more like in drill down fashion. You can do that. The same is, and it is quite popular in task. You can search tasks and you can insert update tasks, but not only that, you search tasks two different ways, like easy search or advanced search. And once you get handle on a task that you want to drill down, you can go to the subsections like general task info, deliverables, staffing, checklist, issues and points, shipping details, engagements, documents, so on and so forth. So if you see your control sheet, on the left side, you see all these sections. They are all available for you through these APIs. The similar thing is true with users. You can search and manage users in these APIs. These are actually some of the use cases that we have come across, and there are, these are just a few of them. There are quite a lot that um, firms are using. One is that create your own XCM integration that I was talking about. The benefit is that having different systems, you can make them work together. You can extend these APIs, or to create custom reports. So we have, as you know, that we have inbuilt reports, but sometimes you want to create a report that is going to be useful for your organization that is not there in XCM. So you can use XCM API and get the raw data and analyze the way you want to. Manual task automation, you can have say client creation. You can save time by doing that, or you can build full-fledged data warehouse solution that you can actually bring data from different places and create centralized repository for your data for reporting and analysis. We have next polling question.
Just going to give a couple more seconds to let people vote.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to close the poll and share your.
Okay, so I guess most of answers are all of the above, and that is right. I'm actually going to get into the required features of any API product. So what I thought, when I was putting this together, that that we should also give you like a industry standard guideline that one should look into while they are evaluating any API products, and not only XCM API. This is true with any API product. As you guess, we had like up-to-date functionality, real-time information, bidirectional, sandbox. Those all are important things. Up-to-date information, why is it needed? Because most of the products, generally APIs are basically extension of your product, and most of the products are basically getting new functionality. The products keep on evolving, they're getting better, features are getting added, so the API should keep up with those development. Otherwise, your implementation using those APIs can become stale very easily. In XCM, we have a team of people that take care of this functionality, and we try to keep up with the changes that are happening in the main product. The second one is real-time data. You can bring in maximum efficiency when you have real-time data at your fingertips. Otherwise, without that, your analysis that you are banking on them, that might become stale, or your decision capability that you're building on these APIs, if you are, that might get handicapped. The third thing, and this is required thing for most of the APIs that have capability of inserting and getting data out. So say if you're working on a product like XCM where you're inserting data and you're also reading data, you really need to have, in that case, you need to have bidirectional support. The example of unidirectional support is probably weather API, where you will not really need bidirectional nature, but other most of the enterprise applications, they are generally bidirectional, so bidirectional support is needed for such APIs. Another one very important aspect of it is that you need to have a way to try out these different features. This is mainly useful for developers because it would take time to get familiarized with the set of functionality and the architecture. So what we have done in XCM, that we have a sandbox environment that we provide to people who are interested, and that's there for 90 days for you to take a look at it. Not only it has capability of everything you want to see, but it also has your own data. It's little about 3 weeks behind, but that is by nature. In the product, in the actual production, you get real-time data. The documentation, and this kind of goes without saying, right? You need to have good documentation of any product, but in API development, it is required because you're developing some functionality on somebody else's functionality. So you need to understand how this functionality is working, and it needs to have you need to have a little deeper understanding of it. And for that, we have actually Swagger documentation, which we always keep up to date. We also have the last but not least is that evaluation and post-evaluation support that any API vendor needs to have. I mean, that is, again, it's kind of a no-brainer, but in API scenario, it is all the more important to have evaluation and post-evaluation support, because you are evaluating, and if you like it, you're going to buy it, and after that also probably you'll be building different features. So you need extended support. You need to make sure that you're getting everything what you are looking for. So I'm actually going to quickly go over what we have built into APIs. So this is a snapshot of dashboard that we have built into XCM API. And why is this important? You can actually go over and see the number of requests that your account is doing. It will also tell you how many GET requests, so how many data points you're reading, how many you're posting. Posting mean like, changing, updating, and creating. Our APIs are not pay as you go, but as you have this is very important to see how many total number of requests one is doing. And again, this is not really that important for XCM APIs, but any other APIs you would probably want if they are if there is a per volume license or pay as you go, because you don't want to get surprise invoices. You want to know exactly what usage is. It might also be a good idea in those scenarios to have some kind of alerts saying that hey, you're reaching that threshold that you want us to let you know, things like that. The other thing is that in this dashboard, what we give you a way to understand the usage pattern. So it's literally telling you what is a different kind of usage that your application is doing and using, and what are the response times and things like that in those APIs. This is a sandbox snapshot of a sandbox environment that we have basically that anybody who wants to evaluate will get. Here you will see that all the API endpoints, and you can actually test those endpoints right there on the website. We'll give you API key for the firm. You use the API key and use username and password. You get authenticated and try this out on your own. And you don't really need to even write a single line of code. If you just go here and do the tryout, there is a tryout button that's available for every endpoint. This sandbox comes quite handy for most of the people. They can quickly take a look at how this is all laid out, what is the architecture, what are the kind of features that you're getting right here with the user interface. As I was saying, that there are two kinds of documentations that we have. One is a Swagger documentation that is more for developers. It tells you how to implement these APIs. It also goes more into details like required fields, acceptable values, things like that. And this is more like high-level documentation of what exactly these APIs are doing. As I was saying that generally these APIs are built on top of your suite of product. So this is an example of how tightly connected XCM APIs are with XCM workflow. If you see here, I don't know whether you can see it properly or not, but this is the API where you're creating a task, and in that task you have a client name as Wayne Thomas, branch name BRA, which is Braintree. You have comments, you have task type, so on and so forth. These are actually getting the task gets created, and these values are flowing into this task, and you don't have to go into the user interface. So you can actually automate task creation on your own. I'm going to go into a little bit more deeper into technical architecture. And this is, again, this is not the architecture of API. This is the architecture of examples. And I know there are like few technical people are there, so they might find this helpful. So this is like a depiction of how one would use XCMapis into data warehousing, where you have your data sources are your cloud data sources, your flat files, or your XCMapi. You get the data in, you transform the data, whatever you want to transform it into, extract and transform. You push it into your data warehouse, and from there you might have different data marts in your data warehouse, and from that you basically, using visualization tools, you can build reports out of it. Another one is inter-system communication that I had touched upon. You can actually achieve that with XCMapi. You see, like Salesforce, Workday, or PeopleSoft, typical examples of ERP software. Intranet like SharePoint, you can integrate with that, or also communication platform like Slack. You can integrate that with that too, or your typical candidates of database candidates, SQL Server, Oracle, or your verticalized solution like QuickBooks. I mean, the possibilities are endless. You can actually get quite a lot of stuff together using not only XCM APIs, I mean, in general APIs. Now we are going to go get into a demo, and we're going to have two different use cases here, and Wayne will show you the demo. One is I did touch upon that, get XCM on intranet. So your company has a portal. Within that portal, you can get a listing of XCM tasks for a client that is on the phone and asking for a status. I mean, one way to do it is you go into XCM, search that task, search the client, search the task, get the status. But you can actually even do that if you integrate it into your portal, where you go to the client and you see all the tasks, and you just drill down, and one click you can get the status of that task. The second one is automating the manual tasks, which actually I had also mentioned before, that your company has a multiple systems. When a new client is onboarded, you might have this client onboarded into some other system. Now, you don't want to do the manual entry, duplicate entry in XCM. You would automate that client creation using this XCM APIs. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Wayne. Wayne, if you can go over a quick demo of these two use cases. Just a minute, I will. Over to Wayne.
Hi, Atul.
Hey.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Swagger. Okay, hi, I'm Wayne Thomas. I'm a software developer at XCM. So we're going to have a technical behind-the-scenes quick look at XCMapi in action. If this does look confusing, don't worry. We'll come back to Atul in just a few minutes. So this is our Swagger page. Atul had shown this a little earlier, and it's the documentation for our API. It shows all the different endpoints, and it is up to date. So whenever we if we add new features or different endpoints, make changes, those will be reflected immediately on this page. So it's a go-to page for documentation of XCMapi. If you click on one of these endpoints, it'll show you the details about what you can send, what you'll get back, and just know that as end users, you don't have to worry about all of this stuff. It's just what's going on behind the scenes of an integration. Developers might be working on this type of thing, but this is what I mean about you can open and close each endpoint to get details. Another nice feature of this Swagger page, it's also called an open API documentation, is that you can actually test out XCMapi, and we're gonna test that out. We're gonna try that out right here. So a tool had shown in a slide called use case number 1. So let's say your company designs an internal portal for your employees, and within that portal, your company has built a custom feature that lets you find XCM tasks for a given client, one that might be on the phone right now asking for a status. So we'll see how this can be used. So let's say that client calls on the phone and it's called Smithers Pet Store. They're looking for a status. In this imaginary portal, you type in the name of the client and click search. And behind the scenes, it makes a call to XCMApi for all the tasks that belong to this client. So let's see how we do that. So we're going to go to task search. So we're going to go down here, task search. And again, this is an automated process. You wouldn't have to actually do this. But there's the client name and execute. And just like that, the results come back. So this is a list of tasks for that client. You can see that there's their name and the type of task and the dates and the status and all that information. So that could populate the list of tasks for the client. Now let's say the client says, oh, great, oh, but can you tell me more about this one particular task? More details. You can do that. This is sort of a high level, the search results are sort of high level. If you want to get more details, you take one task and you can drill down by going to get task internal ID. So you put that one task ID, it's a unique ID for each task, and send that to XCMApi as a request, and the response comes back here immediately, and it's got all the other details about this one task. So this would let you serve your customer better in this case, and just give them the information. As a tool mentioned, you can do this through the XCM UI as well. But if you wanted to integrate this into another system, that's what XCMApi can be used for, among other things. So that's what use case number 1 would look like. So let's take a look at use case number 2. So a tool had showed the other slide, and let's say your company has multiple systems. When a new client is onboarded, you'd like to automate the creation of that client in XCM. So this could potentially remove a manual step in the process, kind of streamline, reduce the chances for errors. So let's see how that would work. So we're going to go to a different endpoint to create a client. So that's up here. They're grouped tasks, firm, and client. So we're going to create a client right here. And we'll put in some information right here in our request. So you can actually have a lot more information in here. This is just sort of the basics. Bob Smith, individual or entity. This is an individual. Braintree, branch name, CPA responsible. Again, yeah, you could have, there's a lot more details you can put in here, but for the purposes of this demo, we're going to just go with this and create a new client. Client created successfully, so that's good. That's all there is to it. And a new client now exists in XCM thanks to this custom automation. So we can pop into our workflow application here and take a look. I'm going to search for that client, and there's Bob Smith. So that's the client we just created using XCMApi, and it's immediately available in our workflow application. So that's how the automation would look. So that's use case number 2. So that concludes the live demo. I'm going to hand it back to Atul now.
Thanks, Vin.
Sure, you're welcome.
You just need to make me a presenter. Yeah, cool.
Good.
Can you see my screen?
All yours. Cannot see your screen yet.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes. Use case number 2.
Yeah. So this is what actually Wayne showed. He basically had get XCM on intranet, and the second one was automating client creation task, which would have been manual otherwise. So we have next polling question here with that.
Just going to give it a few more minutes to let everybody respond.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to close the poll. Share your results.
Cool. Thank you, Amy. And this is not a surprise. This is exactly what we see, that top 2 candidates are automating manual tasks and analyzing your own data for forward-looking and historical data analysis of it. Thanks a lot for your feedback on that. So this is what, in summary, this is what we went over. We went over API fundamentals. Then we went over XCM overview, XCMapi overview, and the capabilities and the examples. Then we kind of touched upon what are the features that one need to look into when you're choosing API products. We kind of dove down into more technical side of examples, and then got into demo. We are going to open it for questions now. We will take, I don't know whether questions have already started coming or not, but more than happy to answer.
Sure, absolutely. We do have a couple of questions, Atul, so I will start with the first one, which was if there's a client management tool and they're using the APIs, does it bring all of the information into the section of the create client? So that utility for the create client, if they're creating it in the APIs, is it going to pull everything into there?
Yes. So if I understand this question right, you have a client management tool somewhere else, and you want to use this XCM APIs and create client. Will it bring everything else? Will it bring all data points? Yes, it will. I'm not very sure what else you have in your external system, but we can also take a look at it if there are particular things that you want to bring in. But whatever is there supported in XCM, all that stuff should come in.
Great.
I hope I answered the question.
It sounds like you did. So the next question we have is if they have a sandbox and they have access to the standard APIs available to try. So that's what you're saying. So if they give access to a sandbox, the APIs available are for them to just try out, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Great.
And not only just try out, you can also discuss various possibilities with us. We generally give one standard instructions, how to access sandbox. After that, you can start looking at it, or you can get on a call with us. We can go over some of the nitty-gritties of these implementations. Most of the times, lot of questions might come when you're integrating or building some application. We are always there to help you on those things.
And also, Atul, I just want to mention that all of the endpoints available in production, XCM API, are available in the sandbox as well.
Yeah, that's right. And also, actually, another thing which I did mention that in Sandbox, when we give access using the API key that we produce for you, you use your username and password from production, and you get all the data that is there in production in your Sandbox. It's not for Sandbox, it is not the latest always, but it is about like a few weeks old. But in production, it is always latest and it is real time. So when you move to production, you always get the latest and greatest data that your XCM has.
Great. This question came in, Wayne, when you were doing the demo. Would the data look like what you are showing, or more like a dashboard or Excel type view? So when you type the information in the endpoints and it shows up in the bottom, that looks like
Sure.
coding.
Yes. So that format is called JSON. It's a standard for formatting data, and so all the requests that we make in XCM API and all the responses that come back from XCM API are all in that same JSON format. It is very easy to translate that format into other formats such as Excel or text or CSV or whatever you want. But the standard is JSON.
Great, thank you.
So one thing to add to that is that as Wayne was saying, that this JSON format is quite standard. It's very easy to manipulate. I mean, we get this question quite a lot. Hey, I have a database where I want to insert this data. How can I convert that JSON format into relational database format? It's very easy. JSON is the whole JSON standard is developed to make this transformations very easy. So we can also actually give a couple of examples for you if you are like if you are not technical but you want to transform it into relational. Feel free to ask us, and then we can give you examples.
Perfect. Another question that's come in, can you specify which fields and data you want the API to return? In other words, if you only want the task type but not the rest of that info for the API returns.
So in your return return response,
Yes.
so in return response, you cannot specify what you want back, but you can always get everything and ignore whatever you don't want, and you just use whatever you want. So that way, we are taking care of most of the use cases and not making this APIs very complicated. Otherwise, it will become, for every data point, if we start making it optional, it will become pretty cumbersome. There might be actually one more question that might come with this. When you're adding, say if you're trying to add a task and there are some default default fields that you don't want to add. So we will take care of this, and this is the functionality, kind of functionality we built lately, where if there are period end date. Maybe for the particular task type for that firm, the period end date is default period end date is already set. So if you don't want to do that, and that is again that is coming, that particular functionality is coming, but that's just an example that you don't in certain fields you can just set as a default and you don't have to specify, and we'll take care of it behind the scene.
Great, thanks. Okay, so we have time for one more question. If we have not gotten to your questions today, we will follow up with you via email. So for the last question, the question is, could you also create tasks after you create the client record?
Yes, so that sounds like the use case demo where we created a client, and absolutely, you could create the client, and then immediately after or anytime after, you can then start to add tasks, create tasks for that client.
Great, thank you. Well, thank you, Tool and Wayne, and everybody for joining. As I did mention, if we did not get to your questions today, we will reach out to you via email. If you have any questions, you can always submit them to support@XCM Solutions. A copy of the recording of today's session and the presentation will be available, will be emailed out to you within 24 hours. Again, thanks to Tool and Wayne and everyone for joining, and hope everyone has a great day.